Good afternoon to all of you. And this statement by our Prime Minister summarized everything our commitment about the SDGs, which suggest and much of the India's development agenda is mirrored in the Sustainable Development Goals, and our national plans are ambitious and purposeful. Sustainable development of one-sixth of the humanity will be of great consequences to the world and to our beautiful planet. So that suggests shows our strong commitment to the SDGs goal. Now coming back to the studies goal, we in the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation looks after the rural part of the country, providing them safe drinking water and the sanitation. So we are involved here in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and all those work we have done, it's a part of our mandate. So we have two sub goals. That's 6.1, which suggests achieve an universal and equitable access to the safe and affordable drinking water for all, and 6.2 is the by 2030 achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all, and in open defecation paying special attention to the need of the women and the girls and those in the vulnerable situations. So these two mandate is with us, and we are working on that. So coming back to the drinking water, which is again a big challenge for us, but so far we can say that around 80% of the country or habitations, there are 1.7 million habitations which we have identified, and out of that 80% we have been able to give them some water based on our norms of 40 LPCD, that is per day 40 liters per capita. So those within that criteria we have been able to have provide 80%. And of course there is also many parts which is where the very water starved area. So there is a big challenge still there. We have been able to provide some type of water to them, and that's comes around 16.19%. So this is a big challenge again with us, and there is again certain areas which is waters are chemical contaminated. That is again 3.61% of that habitation. So it's a huge challenge again, but we have planned for all of them. So we are working on that now. Of course, the budget provisions also is increasing day by day. So I hope that things would be changing. And again, the biggest challenge which we had is giving the piped water connections, and particular to the household where we are very low, and it is around 17%. So that's household connection we are trying to do, and hopefully, and we are, if you remember, the Prime Minister also announced in his independence speech about providing water to each household. So that's the work we are still in progress, and we are working on that. And maybe in a couple of months we will come up with some schemes to addressing that problems. Now coming back to the sanitation, that's the Swachh Bharat Mission recent, and if you know, recently we have a 4 days convention, international conventions, and where more than 68 ministers from across the world attended that convention, and it was a big celebration of whatever the things we have done in recent years in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So that's 2014, this was the challenge, around 1.3 billion people, out of them 600 million people were defecating in open. That was 60% of our world who are defecation in open. And of course we have around 6 lakh villages and 700 districts and 35 union territories and states. So if you see in 1980 we have a coverage of 1%. Those who are defecating in open, just defecating, no access to the safe sanitation. This when this scheme started in 2014, that was coverage was 38.7%, where those people only have the household, those have a safe sanitation coverage. So this was the 2014, where 39%, and you can see the color schemes also where suggest how the various states were behaving. And then come the 94, now it's all green. So now, except for certain states like, of course, this is again a little bit, couple of days old figure, because now Madhya Pradesh has also become total green. So we have UP, Bihar, Odisha, and Telangana, which are the major states which are still, and of course Tripura, which we are again coming to the ODF status, but rest of the country has become ODF. So again, it's 94% we have already achieved the coverage. So in last 4 years, from 39% to 94%, it's all because of all the efforts made by the various states, the people at the ground, and it was a big efforts done by all of the stakeholders. So based on that things, we have been able to achieve this goal. And coming back again to the statistics, 450 million now have changed their behavior, and we are trying to sustain that behavior change, which is biggest. Providing toilets is not a big task, but using that, continues to use that toilets are biggest, and that is the behavior change. Our focus was only on the behavior change, and we worked on that. So far around 86 million toilets have been built, and recent survey suggests by QCI and the independent verification agency mandated by World Bank, where more than 90% of the toilets are being used also. That's a very encouraging figure we have got. And right now, more than 5,500,000 villages are ODF, and 529 districts are ODF, out of the more than 704 or something like that. And of course, 25 states have become ODF. So the impact, which is very important, and all the studies done by the various agencies has also suggested that the huge gain we are getting out of from this mission, which is SBM, around, WHO suggests that around 3 lakh diarrheal deaths have been avoided because once India has become ODF. And of course, BMGF also have said there is a lesser wasting and stunting because of this good sanitation. So, and IMF also suggests it's a safety of the women and the girls has increased, and the workforce participation also. These are all the direct and indirect impact which we are gaining out of this good sanitation which we have trying to achieve. And of course, we are saving each of the household because of this 50,000 rupees, which UNICEF has done some study, suggests that 50,000 rupees is being saved annually because there are less people are going to, falling sick or going to the doctor. So that's a big savings we have got in this. And what is unique about this, talking about the SBM, because in last 4 days also in convention, this was being discussed. And we all agreed that it is a political will which make the difference. So if we have a political will, we would be able to achieve all the SDGs goals. So that's our, and we are fortunate to have leadership of our Prime Minister. We are totally committed to this, and he was a personal champion for SBM, and we were also, since political commitment was there, so we also have the access to the good fund, and right now we have 15,000 crore as a budget, but apart from that, in the budget, this budget also, there is 15,000 again extra budgetary resources which we have been allowed to raise from the market. That's a big budget for this. That's why we have been able to make this difference, and that's because the political commitment was there. So my this is that if we have a political commitment from the highest level, then all the SDGs goal could be achieved. So that's the takeaway which we have got also from the outcome of the convention. So, and of course, we have been able to change the behavior, and we were prioritizing, and all this IC campaign, VCC, that behavior change campaign, all were targeted towards the behavior change, because it's an age-old habit, and it's really hard to change the habit overnight. So we have tried to strive, and that's making difference, and slowly you can see the change in the ground level. And of course, policy shift was toward the outcome-based, and of course, we are also doing verification if toilet is there or not. There is a level of protocol there. So we are also ensuring that things are sustained, and of course, it is an all-inclusive service delivery model, and that's all we are for this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samir Kumar, for highlighting the importance of the sanitation, and especially the iconic PM Modi's mission, Swachh Bharat, and giving a very detailed analysis of where do you stand, how much progress you have been, tremendous amount of progress, and then at the end really talking about how to do it in other areas as well with the political will, resources, campaign, and the behavioral change. Thank you very much for that. A lot to learn from here. Now I would like to move on to the next presenter from Maldives, Ms. Saad Aisat. Deputy Director General, Ministry of Environment and Energy. You have the floor, Madam.
Thank you, Chair. Distinguished guests and participants, Assalamu alaikum. I thank the organizers for the opportunity extended and congratulate you all for bringing us together to this platform. I would just like to focus my presentation on our VNR experience in 2017, and I would not focus on the SDG, how important it is and all that. I think we have heard enough of it today. And I wanted to call my presentation VNR for Dummies, but I think that might be a bit offensive for some, so I thought I'll just stick to being more formal. Just highlighting some few facts about the VNR. VNR is a voluntary state-led undertaken by countries with a view to accelerating the implementation of the SDGs. It's a platform to share the experiences and how you have done the work in the country, incorporating your national plans into the SDGs, implementing mechanisms, process of the VNR, and how stakeholders were involved in the process, and also progress of the goals and how much have you achieved and what are your baselines and the localization of indicators and targets, data management. And also, it's an opportunity to share the success stories from your countries, innovative things you have done, what has eased the process, and collaborations and partnerships you have had in your country. And also, it could highlight the challenges such as the data users, coordination mechanisms. As we have already heard, we are facing same issues, I think, in all countries, working in silos, data issues, reaching the furthest, things like that. And also the lessons learned. The process of carrying out the voluntary national review should not be seen as a separate from implementing the SDGs. It is part of the SDGs implementation as well. It takes stock and assess the shortcomings of the implementation. Sometimes we are hesitant with reporting some things because it's not coming out, it's not giving a very beautiful picture, but it is a self-assessment, and it indicates that we have to move forward or address these issues along the way. And also, it gives an opportunity to revise the national development goals or align the national plans and state plans you already have within your country with the SDGs. And in the Maldives, we have mapped all the policy documents to the SDGs. And the VNR was sort of like an awakening moment for us to get the SDG ball rolling. So I think we were just sitting a bit behind on it before we had preparations for the VNR. And it gave opportunity for us to kickstart the SDGs within the country and continue the dialogue within the country as well. And already 112 countries have presented the VNR, and every year the number is growing. So there are two main parts of the voluntary national review, the report and the presentation at the HLPF. The UN Secretary General's voluntary common reporting guidelines are there, and it's a framework to have some common elements within the review so comparisons can be done. But it clearly defines that it is up to the countries to decide to carry out their reviews, and it is up to the countries that the flexibility is there to highlight issues that the countries feel they want to address or highlight. So we don't really have to stick to the format, or there's no strict format that they have to follow. But there are guidelines which you can adopt, and there are leverages where you can put on issues that you feel as a country can push or highlight. And there is no set rule for how many years that you have to report and how often you have to report the VNR. It's not even mandatory to do the VNR, but it's a state-led thing, and it is up to the countries to be doing it. And you can actually Google and find a handbook with the VNR reporting. So it's not really that difficult to come up with a report itself, but it's what you focus in the report that is the essence of it. So Maldives did. We did not strictly stick to the guidelines that was given, but we had sort of like a self-assessment of, because we were not ready for any baselines or anything at that time. So we highlighted the mechanisms and reported the status and the issues we have under each goal on the areas that we as a nation needs to focus on, and whether and we also reported the mechanisms we have in place and how we had done to map the SDGs to the national plans that were existing. And also we focused our report very much from a small island development state perspective. We are chairing the AOCs at the moment, and we would wanted the report to be highlighting the issues faced by the small islands and advocating for the challenges that we were facing as a small island state. And we were the second small island state to be reporting a VNR when we had it in 2017. So the report very much focused on the issues of the small island state as well. And we also added a component where we highlighted some case studies as a small island development state, how we have used innovation to overcome some of the challenges that we had come. For instance, in the